name is Kathy, and today I'll start the discussion on astral visits within dreams. But before I do this, I just wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. In this video, we will look at astral visits into the past in our dreams. In our first example of an astral visit into the past in our dream state, we have a woman who, for as long as she could remember, had been having a recurring dream of a big, sprawling Victorian house with a wraparound porch, dormer windows, and a massive wooden front door with heavy black iron hinges. She knew every square inch of the inside of that house, from the formal dining room to the narrow back stairway leading to the servants' quarters, to a small bright bedroom with generous lace curtained windows that she knew were hers. Nothing special happened during her dreams in that house, other than a feeling of being happy and belonging there. And while she didn't recognize them, she felt the older man and woman and the young boy who were often there with her were her family. She talked often about finding that house someday in the waking world. She was certain that if it existed, she was sure it was in the English countryside north of London, and she was equally sure that she could find her way there if she were ever anywhere near it. As a gift for her 25th anniversary, the woman's husband took her to England. He neither believed nor disbelieved her insistence on the reality of this house that she had dreamed about throughout their marriage and long before that. But he was more than willing to indulge her curiosity, and even if she were wrong, at least they would have a lovely time exploring London and the surrounding countryside. On the fourth morning of their trip, they rented a car and set out for the countryside north of London. For quite some time, the woman had no particular sense of familiarity, and their leisure drive seemed lovely but unsuccessful. But then, slowly but surely, the woman began giving her husband tentative directions, uncertain at first, and then gaining in confidence as they approached a village nestled in the rolling hills. The woman's heart was pounding harder and harder when she realized that she knew her way around this charming little town, and she guided her husband through a series of turns that led them into a tree-lined street. Suddenly, she gasped, "Stop the car! There it is!" Tears filled her eyes as she gazed up at a stone driveway to the house she had spent so many happy hours in while she slept. From all of her descriptions of it, her husband recognized it too, and was impressed with her accuracy. The woman was torn between her curiosity and her reluctance to disturb whoever lived in this mythical-seeming house, especially knowing they would undoubtedly think that she was crazy. But it was too irresistible, and with her husband's encouraging hand holding hers, she eventually let herself up the driveway to the massive wooden front door with the heavy black iron hinges. She hesitated, very nervous and excited, then rang the bell. An attractive, well-dressed woman in her early 50s answered the door. The woman took a breath, trying to think of a rational way to introduce herself and her husband under these most irrational of circumstances. It turned out not to be necessary. The woman at the door took one look at the woman and screamed, "Oh my God, it's the ghost!" The woman was making her astral visits to a house she had lived in starting in 1712 and shared with the parents and younger brother she saw so often in her dreams. We can all astrally travel to past lives just as easily as we can travel anywhere on Earth, or to the other side of outer space if we want. Hard as it might be for us to grasp, there is no such thing as time anywhere but on this plane we are living on right now. A life we lived in, let's say, 1450 BC, is as current, present tense, and now as today in the spirit world we pay astral visits to. So, when a dream, particularly a recurring one, seems real and haunted, and the elements in it seem inexplicably familiar, and it doesn't seem to fit any of the other dream categories we have talked about, there is a very good chance that you've traveled to another era of this eternal life that you are living. In our next example, we have a woman that had a sudden urge to visit the house that she grew up in, a house that she had nostalgic dreams about many times, and virtually the same thing happened to her as in our first example. Not only did the current owner of the house recognize her instantly as her ghost, but she knew each of the many bedrooms that had been hers because she had heard the woman's laughter coming from it so many times during the night. These types of experiences aren't nearly as uncommon as you might think they were. In all, these astral visits we take while we sleep, it's not unusual for people to see us and hear us, and for all I know, become instant believers in ghosts thanks to us. Just because we are not dead doesn't mean our spirits can't be seen by our unwitting hosts and hostesses while they sleep, as easily as the spirits of deceased loved ones. In our next example, we have a woman who dreamt for as long as she could remember, starting when she was very young, about something chasing her down a hall in a white house. Whatever was chasing her can't catch her, but she is very scared. Then in the dream, she then finds herself looking out the kitchen window, and there is a hill in the backyard with plush green grass. In the dream, she keeps looking to the top of the hill to see if it's being disturbed, because she knows someone is buried there. In the dream, there is also a very dark cellar. She is crouched in this cellar, near the top of the stairs. Someone is telling her that they will still find her, even in the dark, and she is so scared her voice is just noises when she tries to speak. The dream always ends with her husband waking her up and telling her that she was crying a terrible sound in her dream. This is a classic past life astral trip to a life in the Pacific Northwest in the mid-1800s. Unlike those dreams we have talked about in which we are being chased by some unseen monster, the monster that was chasing this woman was very real. It was her father, who even in the rare moments when he was sober, was mean as a snake and horribly abusive. He literally abused this woman's mother to death, and it's her body that was buried at the top of the hill behind the house. In that past lifetime, the woman was an only child, a boy actually, and lived with a combination of terror of this brutal man and guilt over not being able to protect his mother, from his father's homicidal rage. That same terror and guilt, unresolved in that life, are what has caused the woman's terrible dreams, which are really a reenactment of very real memories of her life she keeps traveling to in an effort to make peace with it. The woman still has a tendency in this life to take on more than her share of guilt. She should recognize it as a carryover from a lifetime that has already passed and let it go. In our next example, we have a woman that has had 2 recurring dreams when she was a child. In one of the dreams, she was a young boy running for her life down a hill on a cobblestone street with houses on either side. In the dream, she had dark black hair and was dressed in nice clothing, black knickers, with a black tie and a white shirt, shiny black shoes, and white stockings. It seemed as if a group of people were chasing him. She never saw them, but she knew the danger and felt her life was going to end. In the other recurring dream, she was an Indian squaw, and she was pregnant. She was running away from someone, and she was hit in the stomach with an arrow. In the dream, she fell to the ground holding her stomach, and the next thing she knew, she was herself in her current life, alive and just fine. This woman's first astral trip was to a life in Germany in the 1700s as a boy who accidentally caused the death of a small child. The mob chasing the boy actually caught him, and in escalating mob hysteria, did in fact beat him to death. The woman's second recurring dream was in her life as a Cherokee squaw in the 1850s. If this woman is having stomach problems in this life, or feels terror when people jump out at her, even if it's to yell surprise at a party, those are carryovers too from times that she was already moved on from, that have no relevance in this lifetime that she is currently living. I have a great many videos now on many different topics, so I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easy to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.